Hypnosis to Change Your Life with Dr. Steve G. Jones.
So Steve, through hypnosis, how can you remove barriers someone has about losing weight?
Okay, great question. And a lot of times people come into a weight loss series of hypnosis sessions, and you would think they're completely on board. You know, they're all ready to roll and get this handled and everything. And in most cases, you find out that's not really what's going on. There's a lot of resistance. They've tried a lot of things, just sort of leeching. You know, hypnosis is usually the very last resort. Right before or sometimes right after the leeches, they use hypnosis. It's the very last thing that they do, and they really don't think it's going to work because they've tried everything else. Mm-hmm. So you don't realize that oftentimes when they first come in the office, because they seem like they're gung-ho, ready to go, and you find out that they've got a lot of resistance because of a number of factors. One, as I've mentioned, is the fact that nothing's worked so far. Another one is sometimes, as Dr. Phil would say, there's a payoff for them being overweight. They either get attention or they get to avoid having attention. Sometimes they had an unfortunate incident happen with, a family member or something when they were a child, some unwanted attention, and they subconsciously have decided that by having extra weight, they'll be able to push off unwanted attention. So they're doing certain things subconsciously to push people away in that sort of interaction. At the same time, they want to lose weight, and they're actually working against themselves. So hypnosis can really help with that. And here's the way it normally plays out. I like to see people in a weight loss session for about 6 sessions, ideally, and then sometimes follow-ups. And we're working on things such as confidence, motivation, exercise, and eating habits, and so forth. What we're not having during that time is substantial weight loss, because it's only 6 weeks, and I don't believe in crash course weight loss programs. I believe in setting up some positive ideas in their minds and then having them act on them over time. What happens normally is that around session 3, they sabotage themselves. They'll start eating more than they've ever eaten before.
Why is that?
Well, that's a great question. And the reason is that they find that there's that payoff that they have. They don't really want to lose weight subconsciously, and so they'll start working against it, because their subconscious mind is sending out the danger signal, saying there's something not quite right. We're getting uncomfortable. When they get uncomfortable, they want to get things back to being good, to being normal, to being right, which for them is having a certain amount of weight. Mm-hmm. They see things starting to go this way. They remember what happened in the past when they looked great. They got that unwanted attention, so they want to go in this direction to preserve their psyche, to make sure that they stay intact as an individual. What that means for them is the excess weight. So the sabotage kicks in, and they don't know why. They don't know why they're eating more than ever. They don't know why they're binge eating. They don't know why suddenly, instead of focusing on weight loss, it seems like they're focusing on weight gain. To them, it just seems like they've gone crazy. It really does.
Are people honest about it when they come in? Do they say, I don't know what's going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because they're paying for the sessions. So, and they want the result, or at least they think they want the result. So they want to point out anything that might be not them. Okay, this isn't going to work, not because I'm not doing anything right, but because you are not doing something right. So, hypnotherapist, here's what you've done wrong this week that gets me out of having to do what you'd like me to do, which I really at a deep level don't want to do. So they're more than happy to point that out, your shortcomings. And the way they do that is they say, this really isn't working. I've been eating more than ever. I ate everything in the refrigerator last night.
And what do you say then?
I say, good. I expected that. I knew we were going to be here. In fact, I tell clients that I put that in a book because it happened so. I wrote a book on weight loss, and I put that in the book. And I can show them where I wrote about them 10 years ago before I ever met them, because I knew that was going to happen. I expect that to happen, and I look for it, and I look forward to it, because when that happens, we can address it. It's not always going to happen, but that sabotage is going to happen in many cases, and I like to look at it while I have them in the office, rather than having them go off and think, okay, I'm going to lose weight now, and I'm going to go off from the world, and then they start eating everything. I want to see everything that can possibly go wrong. So I'm going to force things to go wrong by having 6 sessions of things that I know their subconscious mind doesn't really like. And we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about motivation, exercise, how you're going to look great, how you're going to have all that extra attention, and I'm going to really get their subconscious mind kind of uneasy with it. If it's going to come out, it's going to come out then. I'm going to force that to come out because I want to see it. Once I see it, I can deal with it. I can say this is a normal reaction. Here you can read about it. And what we're going to do is find new associations now. I'm going to get to the deeper part of what's going on. Sometimes we'll do a session where I'm just talking to their subconscious mind and talking one-on-one with their subconscious mind, finding out, why do you do this? How do you feel when you do this? What are you fighting when you do this? We're going to get it all out. Once they realize that, a lot of times they're free from it. A lot of times they've seen what their subconscious mind is capable of doing out of fear. We've analyzed it, and then they're able to move past it. And then it requires some more sessions because we have to, we can still do it within the 6 sessions, but usually I can predictably say it's going to happen in session 3, and then when it does, we can address it and then move on.
It's pretty amazing.
Hypnosis to change your life with Dr. Steve G. Jones.